All right, good afternoon. Hope everyone had a delightful weekend at home. We are going to go ahead and get started in a couple of minutes, but before we do that, I did just want to let you know what you'll need today. Today we are doing extracting iron, okay? What you'll need is you'll need about a half cup, maybe 1 cup of cereal. Try to use a cereal that is high in iron content, okay? I'll be using some multigrain Cheerios, all right? Because they say on the nutrition, it says that there is 100% of your daily allowance of iron, okay? You'll need about a cup of that, probably less than a cup, but half cup to a cup. You'll need an empty clear container. Like, for example, this is a Nantucket container or a 20-ounce Coca-Cola bottle would work. You want it to be transparent, though. All right. You'll also need a strong magnet. Okay. I got magnets. So one off your refrigerator should work, but try to choose the strongest one that you have. Okay. And lastly, you're going to need some water. Okay. And not a lot of water, maybe a cup and a half of water. So again, you'll need 1 cup of cereal. You'll need an empty clear container. You're going to need a strong magnet, and you're going to need some water. All right. So I'll give you a couple minutes to go ahead and get those items, and then we'll get started with our lesson today. All right. Pay no attention to the characters in the background, including a grunting baby. I see we got the Star Jewels. I think we got the Walters. See some other folks on. Good to see everyone. Glad you're joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started in about a minute. Again, you need a cup of cereal. You need an empty container, like a 20-ounce Coca-Cola bottle or a Nantucket or a Snapple or something like that. Make sure it's transparent. It doesn't matter if it's glass or plastic, by the way. You'll need a strong magnet, like a magnet from off your refrigerator, and water. You need some water, okay? And again, we're going to go ahead and get started in about 30 seconds or so. All right. So, hope everyone is doing well. And this is the second week of our 2-week course, just doing some simple science lessons for anyone who may be home schooling unexpectedly or anyone who just wants to participate in all the science fun. So let's just review a few things that we have discussed each day that we've done this. First things first, what is the most important thing? The most important thing for a scientist to pay attention to when they do an experiment. The most important thing. All right? Safety. Safety is the most important thing for scientists to pay attention to whenever they do a reaction. We always want to be safe. We don't want to harm ourselves and we don't want to harm others. Okay? So, what does a scientist wear when they go into the laboratory to do an experiment? Okay, in order to stay safe, a scientist likely wears something over their eyes, that is eye protection. Sometimes they're safety glasses. Sometimes we're wearing splash goggles. I work with people who deal with lasers. And believe it or not, even to go into a laboratory with lasers, you need special glasses on, laser safety glasses, okay? You want to protect your eyes. The other thing that you want to do is protect your hands, okay? We wear gloves so we don't get dirt or chemicals or compounds on our hands, all right? We don't want them in contact with our skin, so we wear the gloves. You have to wear the right kinds of gloves. Believe it or not, there are many kinds, but you do want to wear something to protect your hands with. You also want to wear a lab coat. We wear the lab coat to protect our body. Many types of lab coats are actually flame resistant. So if something catches on fire in the laboratory, your lab coat will resist catching fire, whereas your clothes might burn up, all right? We want to protect our body, our clothes as well. So safety glasses, gloves, and some kind of lab coat. Hey, Chow. Good to see you. All right. So we've covered safety. Fortunately, today, you don't have to worry about wearing goggles. You don't have to worry about wearing gloves. And you don't have to worry about wearing a lab coat because the experiment that we're doing today doesn't require it. This is a very safe experiment, and you can do it at home at any time. But what was the next thing we discussed all last week that a scientist needs to bring with them when they go work in the lab? That's right. You need a notebook. You need a lab notebook. You remember why you need a lab notebook? What are you supposed to write in your lab notebook? Okay, well, a scientist brings their notebook with them because they need to write down what it is that they intend to do. Today, we're learning about extracting iron. Okay, so I'll write that in my notebook. Once I've written that down, I need to write down what it is that I need in order to perform my experiment. Okay, today you'll need cereal, half cup to 1 cup. You'll need an empty and a clear container, like a 20-ounce soda bottle. You also need a strong magnet, and you'll need water. Now, hopefully you've already written that into your notebook. If you haven't, take a moment to do that. Hey, Candace, I see you. Hope your kids enjoy this. So bring your lab notebook with you. The other thing you need to write in your lab notebook, two very important things: the question that you're asking yourself for the day and your hypothesis, okay? Your question and your hypothesis. The question we will be answering or looking into today is, can I pull iron from my cereal with a magnet? Okay, I'll repeat the question. Can I pull or extract iron from my cereal with a magnet? Okay, so that is our question for today. Now, the next thing you want to write in your notebook is your hypothesis. Do you remember what the definition of a hypothesis is? That's right. A hypothesis is a guess you can test, or an idea that you can test. All right? That is a hypothesis. So we have a question, and we believe that question is testable. The question is, can I extract iron from my cereal with a magnet? Okay? Now, write down your hypothesis. What do you think? Here are some example hypotheses. Yes, I can extract iron from my cereal with a magnet. Here's another example hypothesis. No, I cannot extract iron from my cereal with a magnet. If you want to go a little off the script today, you could ask yourself, you could write down hypothesis, I don't think that there is any iron in the cereal to extract. Therefore, no, I cannot extract iron from the cereal. Okay? Can you test it? That is the question. If you can test it, then that makes a good hypothesis. All right, so today's lesson focuses on a couple of things. One, it focuses on the human body, and two, it focuses on magnetism. We'll deal with the human body first. Believe it or not, inside your body, these fleshly things here, you actually have metal. That's right. You have metal inside your body. In fact, you have several kinds of metal inside your body. And if you did not have the metal in your body, you would have a very difficult time living. So What kinds of metals are in your body? Well, one of the more important metals that we look at in life sciences is iron. There are many proteins that bind iron and in fact are necessary for us to live. Okay? Iron actually plays a key role, an essential role in how oxygen travels through your blood in the body. There are proteins, what we call metalloproteins, that bind iron. One in particular is called hemoglobin. Without iron in your body, hemoglobin will not be able to transport oxygen through your blood. So, it is necessary for you to have certain metals in your body and in certain quantities. If you do not have a sufficient amount of iron in your bloodstream, you'll actually get really tired easily. All right. So it is important for iron to be in your body, a metal, believe it or not, a metal. So here's a good question to ask yourself. How does metal get inside my body? Think about that. How does metal get inside my body? Well, you can get metal inside your body by eating certain kinds of foods. So there are many kinds of foods that we eat on a constant basis that have a lot of iron content in them. For example, broccoli has iron in it. Cauliflower has iron in it. Spinach has iron in it. And it is important for both broccoli and spinach to have the iron in them when you eat them so that the iron can get into your body through your digestive tract. Your body will break it down and iron will come out and it gets into your body, into your bloodstream, and then you're able to transport oxygen efficiently and effectively through your body. So there are metals in our body, and the metals get into our body often through dietary means, the foods that we eat. Okay? So it's very important for you to have these metals in your body. Now, that's the human body aspect of what we're doing today. What about the magnetism part of it? Ask yourself, what is a magnet? Have you ever seen a magnet? Where do you see magnets? All right? Many of us have magnets stuck on our refrigerator. I've got here a magnetic marker board. This is what we call a permanent magnet. Okay? It is a permanent magnet. There are also temporary magnets. For example, if I took a paper clip and hung it on the bottom of this magnet, you probably can't see the paper clip, right? It's there. There is a paper clip here. All right. If I take this paper clip and hang it here, I can hang another paper clip off of it. And at some point, I will be able to pull the paper clip from the magnet and still hang the other paper clips from it. That means that paper clip became what we would call a temporary magnet. Another kind of magnet is like the planet Earth. A field is built around an electromagnet. Okay, the planet has a north and a south pole, just like magnets have north and south poles. And with those north and south poles, things are attracted to them that are magnetic. Okay, so magnets, we see them often. They're very important, very useful, and they're going to provide for us the fun that we were seeking today. So here's what you will need to do in order to execute this experiment. Remember, when we do an experiment, that means we have to have a question that we are answering, and we want to give a hypothesis, an idea about that question. Okay? So our question again today is, can I pull iron from my multigrain Cheerios using a magnet? All right, so here's what you'll need to do in order to try this out. First, you will take your empty container, and I did not mention, I apologize, your container needs to have a cap on it. You will need to have a cap on your container in order to make this work. All right, so I'm going to take my container. I'm going to fill it about 1/3 of the way up with cereal. Okay, one way to get your cereal in your container that might be pretty effective is I've taken a piece of paper and folded it in half. I'm going to pour the cereal into the paper and then into the container. All right, so let me just take a moment to do that. We can all do this together. I see my niece and nephew are on. I see you, Laura Lynn and Tony. Thanks for joining. All right. Again, I have my cereal is here. All right, and again, I'm just trying to fill it about a third of the way up. Let me make sure my folks on Instagram can see everything. Okay. So I can put a little bit more in here. All right, that's enough. Now, once you have your cereal in your container, what you'll need to do is fill your container with water about 2/3 of the way up. Okay, so you want to get enough water in here that's about 2/3 of the way full. Okay, you do want to leave a little gap for air at the top, but you want to fill it with water about 2/3 of the way up. So I'm going to go get some water. All right, and again, if you're following along at home, all I've done is I have an empty container. This is a Nantucket, 16-ounce container. And I filled it from the bottom up about 1/3 of the way with with my food coloring, good grief, with my cereal. Then I filled it about 2/3 of the way up with water. All right, that's all I've done. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a cap on it. You need a cap for this. And let me explain or stress, you need to put the cap on tightly. I'm going to say that 2 more times. You need to put the cap on tightly. Tighten the cap on there. Make sure your cap is tightened on there. All right. Because what we're going to do for the next 3-ish minutes is we're going to shake this container, because what we are trying to do is break the cereal down as much as possible. All right. So for the next 3 minutes, this is what we'll be doing. Your goal is you're trying to break the cereal down as much as possible. All right. And having the water there allows us to break the cereal down a little more effectively. And having that gap of air allows it to slosh a little more effectively. And therefore, we can break the cereal down. But it does take a few minutes. If you want to try this later on, one of the things I might recommend or suggest is take your cereal into a separate bowl, crush it up as much as possible, either with your hands or with some kind of kitchen utensil, and then put it in your bottle, add the water, and shake it up as we're doing now. But it will work this way too. So that's just one way to maybe ease the process of breaking down the cereal. The reason I stress keeping the cap tight is because if it's not tight and you start shaking this, it'll go everywhere, all over your computer, over your floor, and your walls, and you don't want that. So it's important to make sure the cap is on there really tight. You got a sibling or a parent, your arms get tired, pass it on to them. Make sure the cap is on tight and have them help you break down the cereal. Now keep in mind what we're trying to figure out. On the side of my cereal box, it says that each serving of that cereal has 100% of my daily allowance of iron. that means that there is a significant amount of iron in the cereal, in each serving of the cereal. So I should be able to get the iron out. The question is, can I pull the iron out with a magnet? All right. Can I extract iron from my cereal with a magnet? Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to let this settle for just a moment as we have a brief discussion on iron and magnetism. Now, I have chosen to ask the question, can I pull iron from my cereal with a magnet? Because iron happens to be one of a few elements that is actually magnetic. Here's a question. Are all metals magnetic? No, they're not. Not all metals are magnetic. Only certain metals are magnetic. Three of the most common magnetic metals are iron, nickel, and cobalt. Iron, nickel, and cobalt. They are magnetic. Iron, as I mentioned before, is very important for the flow of oxygen in our bodies. So we actually have iron in our body. That means it's part of our diet. So in a cereal like these Cheerios that I have that says it has 100% of my daily allowance of iron in it, that means that I should be able to pull that iron out with a magnet. And again, that was our question for the day. Can I extract it with a magnet? So I hope this shows up on camera. We will give this a try. What you will need to do once you've broken up your cereal enough, what you will need to do is take your magnet, and I have a pretty strong refrigerator magnet here, and I'm going to rub it along the side of this container slowly, okay? Slowly along the side of this container where the water is, so below the cereal line, where the now murky water is located. That's all I'm doing. I'll get a little closer to the camera. Okay, so all I'm doing is slowly moving this across. You need to do this maybe for about 30 seconds. And after a while, you should be able to see some gray material begin to collect. All right, so again, I'm trying to go around, and if there's iron in there, I should see it collecting. I think I saw some. I think I saw some. All right. I'm going to do my best to get this on camera. It's really difficult because it moves really fast, but I'm going to try it with my folks here on Facebook first, and then I'll try it with my folks on Instagram. What you're going to see is when I move the magnet, you're going to see something drop down that's a little dark, and I'll try to point it out with my finger. All right. So here we go. All right. It's a lot of glare in my room. I apologize. So I'll try it for my folks on Instagram. What you want to do if you want to see it, if you're at home, you're trying this, and I hope you are. I really hope you are because this is pretty eye-opening. When you pull this away, you want to look really quickly where the magnet was, and you should see, especially if you tip your container such that anything that will fall down will fall, like kind of appearing to fall towards you. You should see a dark gray material fall apart. Kind of almost looks like hair is in there. But believe it or not, that is iron that is aligned along the side of your container. Oh yeah, I can see it. It's very, very much there. For my folks on Instagram, I'm going to try to point this out for you. It's right there. All right. I'll try to point it out again for my folks on Facebook. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll try to point it out for you. It's right there. All right. So I really hope you're trying this at home. If you're unable to do it right now, definitely give it a try later on. You can go to my YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and search Dr. Boyd the Chemist, and my channel will come up. When my channel comes up, then look for my video that says, I think it's entitled Extracting Iron. And you can actually see it very clearly in that video. I got a couple really good angles of it on camera. So definitely try this. It's very, very eye-opening. I must admit, the first time I attempted this, I was myself pretty impressed that you can actually pull metal out of your cereal. Okay? So, what was your hypothesis? What was your hypothesis? Did you think it was possible to extract iron, this iron metal, from your cereal using a magnet? Did you even know that the iron was there? When you read those nutrition facts on the side, do you believe that they're telling you the truth? So here is an example of a way you can test to see whether or not there's actually a high iron content or iron at all in your cereal. So if you said that you thought, yes, I can extract iron from my cereal using a magnet, then your hypothesis was correct. All right. Again, I hope you're really trying this at home. I hope you have some cereal. Don't waste too much cereal. I know everyone's pretty much locked down, so don't waste too much. But it doesn't take a lot. Maybe a half a cup of cereal. Get a good container, clean it out, shake it up with some water, and try it with a magnet. Get a good strong magnet, and you should be able to pull the iron out of it. I will give one warning. Once you have done this and you've gotten all the excitement out of it, please pour this down your drain. Like, open this top and pour it down your garbage disposal. It should dispose just fine as food and water. I say that because if you let this sit for too long, what will happen is that your cereal will ferment and it will make a really, really gassy material. And if it's in like a plastic container, the container will begin to expand. You don't want it exploding everywhere when you open it. It will explode everywhere. And I am speaking from experience. So make sure once you're finished with this experiment that you just pour it down the drain, get rid of all the cereal and down your garbage disposal if you have one. And otherwise, you will be left with a big mess when you try to open it and get rid of it later on. I am speaking from experience. All right, that's all we have for today. I do want to just let you know what we are doing tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to learn about surface tension, and we're going to do 2 different types of experiments tomorrow. The first experiment will require these items. You will need a plate or a bowl. You will need water. You will need black pepper, and you'll need a little amount of dish liquid, okay, like a fingertip amount of dish liquid. The second experiment we're going to do tomorrow, also about surface tension, you will need a bowl. You'll need a small amount of milk, maybe half a cup, maybe. That might be overkill, but you'll need a little bit of milk, preferably milk with fat in it, a significant amount of fat in it. You also need food coloring. And you might want a Q-tip like this, like a Q-tip. And you will need, again, some dish liquid, just enough dish liquid to wrap around the Q-tip. Okay, so that's what we're doing tomorrow. Surface tension. I'll be back on at 2 o'clock Eastern time. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, find Science Made Simple _LLC. I started over the weekend a Facebook page, Science Made Simple LLC. You can find me there. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have dozens of videos up where I explain the science. We do an experiment, and I hope everyone enjoys it. You can find me on YouTube by searching Dr. Boyd the Chemist, and definitely subscribe to that. I have new videos that I'll be posting the next few days, in fact. All right. I will see you next time.